Something as prestigious as being a judge. You know what? I'll forego that to chase this dream.
And so for all of this, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Hey everybody, Vince August here. It is Friday, January 29th, and I had to jump on to do what I'm going to call legal briefs because there's certain things that happened this week that were just grinding my gears, and I couldn't wait to do another episode, which will be coming out next week, episode 2, regarding a homeless crisis that we are bearing down on. But before we get there, let me touch on like 3 or 4 things that I just absolutely positively have to get off my chest. First of all, we've seen that they want to raise the minimum wage in the United States. And first of all, it's the federal minimum wage, so it's not really going to affect companies. But this is supposed to be a sweeping raise of the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And all this is going to do is, once again, like we did in all of 2020, is create a bigger benefit to all the big corporations that are apparently just raking in billions right now. That's right, because you know who's going to get hurt? Once again, the mom and pop shop. So we already had the largest upward transfer of wealth probably in the history of this country. Now we're going to exacerbate it. Now we're going to make it worse, because what we're going to do is we're going to force people that own small businesses to pay $15 an hour. Now, big box stores and big chains can do this. But if your business has been shut down for the last year and you're just trying to get by on PPP loans and you're trying to pay your staff, when you come back, now you've got to pay your staff $15 an hour. Well, maybe you can't afford to pay all those people. So what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to let people go because you're struggling to make ends meet. Because, see, here's the problem with this country. We can't look at a situation and say, look, there's got to be tiers to this $15 an hour minimum wage. There's got to be tiers to the solution of giving people a respectable living. So here's what we're going to do. For companies that make X amount of millions of dollars, you have to pay $15 an hour. For companies that make this much, We're going to scale it back. And if you're a mom and pop shop, hey, look, we understand you have to look to get by. And you know what? Maybe you're not located in a big city, because I hate to break it to everyone. Not everyone lives in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and a major city. There are places that are rural that just can't afford this. So the first thing, this $15 minimum wage coming, now we're not even out of it, in the middle of a pandemic is an awful idea. I don't know why people are not having an issue with this. Second thing, mail-in voting. Really good when it's for everybody else, but not for the people in charge. Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon and the Washington Post, okay, was all for mail-in voting for the presidential election. Yeah. But then when it came to a union vote at one of his factories down south, no, you're not allowed to vote by mail. You've got to vote in person. And if anybody knows how union voting goes, when you go to mail in person, there is all kinds of intimidation, all kinds of people watching. Who's going to cross lines? Who's going to do what? All these people wanted to do is build a union, create a union. So here's what we have. The first two things that I'm covering. We're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, but yet a company like Amazon is not going to let you create a union. Well, which is it? And where's Bernie Sanders during all of this? I was one of the Bernie supporters back in 2016. And still to this day, I believe that Bernie Sanders, based on the current situation, could be the best person to get us out of this. But Bernie Sanders is a 3/4 of a football game type of leader. He fights for 3/4, and in a fourth quarter, he lays down. He's like the Atlanta Falcons that lost to the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. Where is he to attack Bezos? Where is he to attack this minimum wage and say, hey, look, you know what? It's not for everyone. Obviously, he's sitting in a chair somewhere with his gloves folded over all over the internet. Third thing that we saw, Wall Street. What more evidence do you need, based on my last episode about free speech, that companies will weaponize their platforms to make sure that the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor? We saw it this week with Reddit. We saw it with Discord. When it came down to shut down a conversation, when it came to shut down lines of communication so that hedge fund people could be protected from people that you're just trying to make money because there's something illegal. We're protecting you from you. There's a lot of volatility. This is bullshit. Okay, let me tell you what happened this week. The billionaires were finally losing. Okay, they were finally taking a loss. And what happened is a site like Robinhood went to their aid, because you know what we are? All the people that invest in Robinhood, that have an account on Robinhood, we are the data. We are the data they collect so they can sell that data to hedge funds to profit. Right now, Robinhood, yesterday they shut down completely trading. Now they have people saying, no, you can only sell these many shares. You can only buy this many shares. They are controlling what's called a free market. Because in the end, you know what they're going to say? Give me a fine. I'll pay the fine. We'll be okay. Yeah. While they save their billionaire friends. I have said this over and over to you, and I'm going to say it again. The war is not left versus right. It is not black versus white. It is top versus bottom. That's what this is. All of the other things that they're trying to make you believe it is a cover-up. That is the distraction. The distraction is left versus right, black versus white. Speaking of black versus white and left versus right, coronavirus. President Biden comes out and says, look, this is affecting people of color more than it's affecting the people in our society, and it's not anyone's fault. And I thought about these numbers. I said to myself, is that true? Well, then I went to the CDC website and I saw that white non-Hispanics are dying at a rate of 59%. 59. Then I saw Hispanics at 18, blacks at 16%. So combined, it's 59% white non-Hispanic to 34% combination of black and Hispanic. But what disturbed me more is, forget about that they lied about the numbers and they're trying to make that a racist issue. We're trying to make the deaths in this country a racist issue. The bottom line is, these are people. These are people dying. And by the way, who are the people dying and where are they dying? I'll tell you where they're dying. 229,000 of the people that have died in a healthcare facility. 79,000 in a nursing home. 77% of the people that have died from this virus have died in one of those two places. 77%. But we have shut down the entire economy rather than taking the steps necessary to protect those areas more importantly, and then seeing how we can scale back. Again, just like the minimum wage. You know what? We don't know how to tier things. We don't know how to solve problems in sections. So you know what? Just sweeping rules that basically create the situation that we're in right now. This is incredible. And why no one is reporting this, why people don't see this is blowing my mind. The pipeline. Here's another one. We're looking at the pipeline situation. John Kerry has the nerve to come out and say, hey, look, we're losing 11,000 jobs, with that large, 11,000 jobs. That's the guy you want to tell that you want to send a Grim Reaper to tell people they're going to lose. Can we get someone to look a little less Grim Reaper-ish to give bad news, by the way? So 11,000 people right off the bat losing their job. And by the way, remember when we loved Justin Trudeau back when he was telling Trump how bad of a guy he is? Well, now that Justin Trudeau is saying, hey, listen, America, you're hurting us. Now no one cares about what Justin Trudeau has to say. Because this pipeline that's being shut down, that John Kerry is telling people, hey, learn to go make solar panels. Yeah, those solar panel jobs, first of all, are not just sitting there waiting, first of all. Second of all, it's during a pandemic that you're putting 11,000 more people on unemployment as if we don't have an unemployment problem. It's not like you're sending out any coronavirus relief checks that we're told the $2,000 check, which is really a $1,400 check, probably won't come till March. Thank you very much. Okay, but worse than that, John Kerry is telling people we're doing this for the environment. The same John Kerry whose family owns a private jet. He flies around on a private jet, the Heinz jet, family jet thing. Please, this is ridiculous. This is the type of stuff that is making me go crazy. But, I'm on my way to closing. I had to just get some of this stuff off my chest. I had to pop on for a live. Please watch Judge Vinny, watch the episodes. I'm feeling anxiety. I just, no, hold on. One more thing. By the way, when we're looking at television and the fact that all of this information that's being shoved down our throat on television, here's an idea for people in Hollywood that are trying to dictate our morals and everything else. By the way, Hollywood, in 2014, the average person was watching TV for 4.2 hours, according to Statista. In 2019, before the pandemic, that dropped to 2.27 hours, almost in half the amount of time people were watching television, because I think they were just kind of getting tired of the same message. They're tired of all the news, all the mainstream media. They're tired of being preached to. They just want to be entertained, but everything's got to be a preach. Everything's got to be a sermon. Well, in 2020, when we were all forced to stay in our homes, what did that number climb to? What did that 2.27 number climb to? You would think it would climb back to 4 hours, right? No, not so fast. It climbed to 2.46 hours. So even when we were locked in our homes and the choice was to watch television, people are shying away from it. So you know what? Mainstream media, Hollywood, people that are in the elite class in this top versus bottom war, no one's listening to you anymore. So stop spreading your bullshit. Okay, let's start calling things for what they are, because this is the type of stuff that makes me crazy. I really got to go. I got to get to this closing. Before I go, one more thing. This is the last thing. Just to let you know, there's a law on the books in Alaska that says it's a Class A misdemeanor to get drunk in a bar or a restaurant, or be drunk in a bar or a restaurant. In Alaska, of all the things that I just talked about, the minimum wage, the mail-in, this is a law? This was probably the thing that bothered me the most. All right, now I really got to get to this closing. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.